Bacon. Who doesn't love bacon? The only thing better than bacon is homemade bacon. Today we're making on the Yoder. Let's get into it. So as you can see, we're at the smoking stage of bacon. Let me bring you up to speed. So couple things. First and foremost, this is a Berkshire pork belly. This is actually, I'm noticing today, I didn't notice when I was filming before, but this is actually skin on. I ordered skin off. So after this cooks, once it's nice and hot, I can take a knife and we can peel that off, no problem. But ideally, I would have preferred to have skin off just so we can get maximum smoke into it. It's easier to find skin on, to be honest. So it's not gonna hurt you either way. What we did here is we mixed up a cure. Now, I did this 8.5 days ago, so I can't remember the exact measurements. I'm gonna put them up on the screen, but I wanna say that it was 200 grams of diamond crystal kosher salt, 100 grams of sugar, and 30 grams of pink curing salt. And then I added some pepper just because I felt like having some pepper on it. But we're making up a whole bunch. Then what I did here is I measured the weight of this pork belly in grams. It's almost a 4-pound belly. And then I divided that number by 0.025, which gives me a 2.5% amount to put on here. Depends how salty you like it. So you could go 3%, no problem. This is the first time I'm making it, so I didn't want it overly salty. I typically don't like things with a lot of salt on them. So I figured if it's not salty enough, I'll push through. If it's too salty, I'm not gonna enjoy it. So then what I did is I put this in, well, I tried to put this into a bag that I could put in my chamber vac, but I just couldn't get it sealed, so I ended up putting it into a gallon Ziploc bag and sealing it up. But the big thing there is before you do that, make sure that you measured out, rub it all over, all sides and top and bottom, get a nice coating of it on there. And then I put it in what turned out to be a gallon Ziploc bag. I actually put it in water to push out some of the air, sealed up, threw it in my beer fridge, and then every day or so I flipped it. And you know, you can go 7 days, which is perfect. This is 8.5 days. You could go a couple weeks if you need to. For my timing and schedule wise, it wasn't gonna work to do the video right now in a week, and I didn't wanna wait because I wanted some homemade bacon. So then what I did is this morning, about 30 minutes ago, I pulled it out and I rinsed it under water. It's gonna get a little slimy, and I'm just rinsing off all the excess, give it a good rinse, and then we put it on a rack here, and hello, someone wants some bacon. So anyhow, now what we're gonna do is we're going to go through the smoking process. I'm gonna fire up the Yoder. I do have some in here, but I wanna make sure I've got some more. Today we're going to use Bear Mountain hickory pellets. Now we're going to click our start button here, and then we're going to, what are we doing here? We're going to go down to 170. What we want to do is we don't want to cook this too fast because we want to give it lots of time to get that smoke. I thought actually I was going to do a double smoke, but today I'm going to just do a regular one and see what happens, and next time I'll try a double smoke. But what we're going to do now is we're just going to throw this guy on the rack like so. So we've got it on a rack here. The real reason for that is that I don't want to get it dirty from any of the grease or anything that's on the top rack. We're putting it on the top rack because the smoke's going to come up here, and we're going to go over there and get maximum smoke in there. And what we're doing here is we're going to cold smoke this. That's why we're using a cure in there. We're going to be about 170. And we're gonna go for 5-6 hours until it hits 150. It's been 6.5 hours. As you can see, it's getting dark. So it's looking great. I'll bring you in here real quick and let you see what it looks like. I mean, it's looking amazing, but I don't want to open up too long because contrary to the t-shirt, it's 41 degrees outside. You can see my breath a little bit. What we're gonna do now is I need to push this up about another 10 degrees. I'm going to cook it until it's 155. I decided push it just a little higher. And what I'm gonna do is once it's hit 155, I'm gonna pull it off, let it rest for about 10 minutes. And then I'm gonna take my blade, big knife, and I'm going to just trim at the skin underneath and slice away the fat. It will peel right back with the aid of a knife. Super simple. And then what I'll do is I'm gonna let it cool down. I'll wrap it in some saran wrap, throw it in the fridge, and then I'll bring you back tomorrow. We'll have a look at it. We will fry some up and have a taste. So here we are the next day. As you can see, I just wrapped it up in some plastic wrap and threw it in the fridge. Now the skin actually peeled off pretty easily. I only had to use a knife at the very end. There we go. Smells smoky. All right, let's take a couple slices off here. The trick will be trying to get a nice thin slice with a knife. I don't really like thick slices of bacon myself. I like them a little thinner. We get one a little too thin on that one. I will actually, suppose I cut straight, probably cut this in half and put it in my meat slicer. Now you guys get a nice look at what it looks like. Beautiful color, smells like bacon. That's the most important part. So we will take a couple slices here. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass to cut thin slices, hence the need for a slicer. All right, I'm gonna throw some of this. That one's a little thick on that one side. Definitely a little thicker on the bottom. I don't know who cut that, but it doesn't know how to cut straight. Let's throw this on the stove and you know what? These ones are just not gonna cook very well. So I will cook those later. Just a little anal, ladies and gentlemen. I can make some bacon bits too. So we'll use those for that. This is another beautiful piece. This one's okay, just kind of fell apart on me a little bit. We'll fry this up. All right, so the moment of truth, we'll move this out of the way. Need that for a thumbnail. But here's our bacon. Now, a couple things before I try this. I was actually very intimidated to make bacon for a long time. And much like sausages, when I learned how to make sausages last year, you know, it's mostly in your head. It's really not that hard once you get into it. So, you know, if you haven't made sausages or you haven't made bacon before, I highly recommend that you give it a try, because once you learn how to do it, like I'm gonna go try and make some different kinds of bacon now, provided this tastes good. And you can control the quality of the meat that goes into it, and I can make a whole bunch and I can just freeze it. Now, if you're gonna make a bunch of it, I would probably recommend maybe getting a slicer. Now, home slicers, mine's actually a 12-inch blade, so it's pretty big. Most of them are like a 10-inch blade, so you would cut it in half and just make slices of bacon. But then you can just freeze it. You could freeze this as it is and bring it out whenever you want. And you could spend, you know, a day making bacon and have it for 6 months, a year. All that to say that it only makes sense if this actually tastes good. Tastes like bacon, not very salty. It finishes a little salty, but not over the top. I think I would go to the 3% mixture. That would get a little bit more salt into it, and then if you're really worried about too much salt, you could just give it like an extra long rinse off, and that would take some of it off. But I think we could probably go a little more saltier than this. But overall, I mean, it's pretty good. There we had bacon. I talked to you about sausages. I'll share with you a video right here of me making sausages. Give it a try and do something new in 2025. Thanks as always for watching. I'll see you soon.